I'm being chased by dogs now. It's good. I guess some shepherd dogs don't like the color of my car. So basically, three main reasons why to buy a house on the old mountain Balkan range, either in Bulgaria or Serbia. The first one might be obvious, and that is the financial side of things. There is literally no other place, well, maybe in the world, yes, but not in Europe, where you can still find properties for less than 10,000 euros. Rarely you can still find something for about 5, but I'm almost stopping using that number because it's gonna be really like quite a ruin. So something that's actually, that the roof is not leaking and things like that will be most likely 10,000, and that still has zero competition. Like a lot of people been talking about Portugal and maybe Albania, things like that. There is no prices like that, honestly. So where is the competition? Like from what I remember when I was looking at properties in Portugal, like 15,000 was just bunch of rocks. So yeah, for me, this is the obvious aspect. Recently, I've seen a news article out of Bulgaria where, let me adjust this a little bit, where in Bulgaria, the prices year on year increased 18%. I think this is mostly statistics made for apartments and generally other properties than these cheap houses in the countryside that I am buying or I am being interested in sharing with others. So if you would like to find out more about these properties, there is an email in the description and you can get in touch and I will let you know what's developing. So this would be probably the reason number one. You have a potential that these properties will go up in price and you're basically buying something that is already the cheapest. So should there be some big real estate market crash driven by whatever reasons, we didn't have one for almost 15, 20 years now, let's say, since the 2008 mortgage crash in the US and then the subsequent few years with the Greek crisis and things like that. I think since that time there hasn't been real market crash yet when it comes to properties. And yes, since that time definitely house prices around were increasing. So, I'm just ringing the bell. It's not end of the world just yet. You still have time. You can start saving money, and by next summer you will probably still be able to find amazing deals. So this is just like a little short call to action from me, because it's not gonna be cheap forever, but it's also not like you need to buy tomorrow. You can buy half year from now probably for the same prices. We shall see what the acceptance of Bulgaria into Eurozone will do. I don't expect any major moves up or down. I think it's just already fairly priced in, and exactly like the old properties, the cheap houses in the mountains will most likely not be affected by this. Reason number two, that would be for me a legal side of things, because with acquiring a property you get to have a real address, and in case of Serbia you get to get a temporary residence. So it is your reason to be in the country in the first place. You don't have to, work for somebody to be allowed to stay and live. So this is not the case everywhere. If you just take Macedonia, for example, the price of the property must be probably like higher than 40,000 euros. Now, don't take that number for granted. It's just something that I remember now. So they're buying a cheap house for less than 10,000. Will not change your tourist status, right? In Bulgaria, it depends if you are EU or non-EU citizen, obviously. So that's why I am doing both Serbia and Bulgaria, because in certain cases it's actually easier to immigrate to Serbia based on property ownership than to Bulgaria. And then, for example, in my opinion, humble opinion, but I do my research, and so in Bulgaria, it's probably the best place in whole EU to have registered LLC. There is 10% corporate tax, 5% tax on dividends, and you don't have to be an employee of your newly set up LLC. We all live in this world of regulations and rules written by rich men, so you need to find your way through and go where the conditions are the most favorable to your situation. And now let's get finally to the reason number 3. I think that's the cultural reason, The acceptance of foreigners is quite high here. Maybe not if you're refugees from Northern Africa. That is not well welcomed here yet. The international agencies are obviously working on changing the opinion of people like everywhere else, but so far there has been no real success of integrating this particular side of population, and I think it's for the good. But hey, who am I to judge? But yeah, generally, life tends to flow a little bit easier here. It's not, people are not in that rushy mode like in big Western cities, let's say. Family values are on high level, so that also has its negatives, because you might want to have things done, but your carpenter has a family celebration and he's just not coming this Thursday. This is obviously the cultural sort of difference that you need to get adjusted to, but I much rather adjust to slower pace of life than to more stress. So yeah, generally life is really easy here. People like good food, good fun, and they usually let you be. Also the governments, like it's pretty much standard that if you're really like not breaking a law like drastically, take over a tractor, you really have to be a criminal so government is interested in you, and they're criminals themselves, so you can pretty much get away with almost everything that is in some norms, right? So yeah, I think I will leave it here. If you would like to know more about Balkans, get some specified insights, leave me a comment and I will try to answer it in my future drive and talk. And yeah, thanks for subscribing. This channel was growing faster than I could have imagined, so big thanks to all the subscribers, and until next time, do widzenia.